women's empowerment. Women's empowerment. This implies that there's a need to empower women, right? What does it mean to empower a woman? Does it mean that you're giving her extra money or resources? Does it mean that you're building her a toilet so that she doesn't get raped on her way to her place of open defecation? Does it mean that you're subsidizing school fees for girls so that parents have a reason to send them to school? What does it mean? For the upper class, what does it mean? Does being empowered mean that I have a handy safety application in case somebody tries to molest me on the street? Or does it mean aerobics classes telling me to be confident? Or is it telling women to speak up in the workplace for their rights? Well, all of these things are obviously important, and there's a space for initiatives and programs directed at women in order to level the playing field. But I'm going to break something to you today. There is no amount of special schemes, special programs, and empowerment classes for women that are going to solve gender inequality in India. You see, in some ways, our efforts have been largely misdirected. We're looking at the symptoms of the issue and not the root of the issue. And just like anyone in the medical profession can tell you, looking at the symptoms is not the same as curing it. Treating the symptoms is not the cure. Do we know the scale of this issue? 92% of women cite sexual harassment in public places. 53% of children have experienced sexual abuse, boys and girls. But the perpetrator most likely is male. So, I'm going to give you guys a scenario. Let's imagine that 92% of people in this country were getting deathly ill off of contaminated milk. Okay? Would your first response be to go distribute medicines to everyone in the country to make them better? Or would it be to give them an application so as soon as they start vomiting, you can take them to the hospital? Or would your first thought be to say, but why is the milk contaminated? Let's fix the supply chain. Give us our fresh milk. So, if a systemic solution or targeting the root of the issue is so obvious when it comes to contaminated milk, then why not when it comes to gender inequality? You see, when it comes to gender inequality, contaminated milk has become our norm. We're treating the symptoms. We're not taking care of the milk. We're not taking care of our boys. Let me tell you a little story. See, low-income municipal school in Mumbai. This is the kind of school where it's so crowded that you have to enter the classroom first and then let all the students enter because it's so crowded that you can't move. This is the kind of school where most of the students, their parents are rickshaw drivers, maids, and shopkeepers. This is a school where you can tell the learning capacity of a child by looking at his physical stature, because malnourished kids just don't learn as quickly. And this was the school where my organization Iesha went to run a course on sexuality and gender for their 8th standard students. So, when we first approached the school, the principal said to us, this is great, but this is only for the girls, right? Because, we're scared that if you do it for the boys, they'll go start talking in the community, and, the parents will get upset. And anyway, this information is more important for the girls. Then the teachers told us, the teachers had a different story. They said their boys have been exhibiting some alarming behavior. Some of the boys have been making sexual comments to the female teachers. And the littler boys are scared to go to the bathroom because the bigger ones are grabbing their private parts from underneath the bathroom stalls. Teaching 8th standard has become harder day by day. So the school agreed and they said, okay, do this course, this 10-session course on sexuality and gender for both our boys and girls in the 8th standard. So we started our course and in our regular lighthearted way. We did games and activities and explained concepts like puberty and reproduction and everything that was happening in their bodies. But after 1 or 2 sessions, we sensed something was wrong. There was an antagonism in the air. Some of the students didn't feel that they should be learning this information because they thought it was vulgar, disgusting. The boys especially had strong opinions. And in one of our lectures, they created such a ruckus that it was almost impossible to finish the class. You know, we have something called a question box that we use in our classes. And any child can come, put their question in the question box, and it's a confidential way to get answers to anything they want. And we answer it at the beginning of the next class. So to try to solve this issue, we took a look at the question box. And we looked at the questions that these 13-year-old boys were putting in the box. And they kind of blew us away. I mean, these were really explicit questions that 13-year-old boys should not have any idea about. And we realized these boys are consuming large amounts of pornography. But at the same time, they're unable or unwilling to engage with us on topics of health and safety and values. What was going on? So we thought about it. We realized the shame and the wrongness associated with porn was what they were projecting onto all of these topics. Relationships, love, the changes happening in their own bodies, reproduction, all of that in their minds was wrong and shameful. And thus the misbehavior. So the next day, I went into class, I walked to the front of class, and I brought the question box with me. And I started reading these questions out word by word in front of the class. And the boys waited eagerly for the answers. And I told the boys, listen, we recognize what you're watching. And it's not wrong that you're watching it, but know that it's not real. The information you're consuming is contaminated. And we are here to help you separate fact from fiction. Because half information is more dangerous than full information. Because some of the things that you're watching are aggressive, and there's a lack of consent, and there's a lack of safety. And those things in real life can hurt people. From that day forward, we had the boys' attention. So we went ahead, we finished all 10 sessions of the course, and the boys and the girls, you know, at the end, a lot of them were coming up to us, they were telling us what they thought. And one little boy came up to me and he said, Didi, thank you so much for coming. I'm like, okay, why, you know? He said, my favorite module was consent. I said, why? And he said, Didi, because until you guys came, you know, I thought that it was right to force the girl until she said yes. But on that day, you changed my mind. And I realized that if I like a girl, I should go ask her first. And if she says no, then I should accept her consent and move on. Another little boy came up to me and he said, Didi, my favorite module was LGBTQ. And I said, why is that? And he said, Didi, in our class, the boys tease each other a lot and they call them gay and homosexual. And now we know that it's all normal. So now if I see somebody teasing someone, I'll go to him and I'll tell him to stop. Because it's not nice and it makes the other person feel bad. So the principal had been scared that the boys would go around talking. But he had no idea in what way these boys would go around talking about it. So boys have been systematically gender dialogue. And in the silence, there's contaminated information. Not just porn, Bollywood, information they get from their peers to be hyper-masculine, boys don't cry. And so, how are we going to solve this? You know, people say boys will be boys, but we have proven that you can teach empathy and you can teach consent. So if you target boys at puberty with accurate, empowering information and teach them to love and accept themselves, then they're going to go on and do the same for others. Swami Vivekananda said that with one wing, India cannot fly. I would argue that both its wings are clipped. And unless we rise, and we have to rise them up both together in order to create a gender equal India. Thanks.